He steps up and he starts to run here. He keeps looking to find a play. That's when that wasn't a big play there, but you get a lot of big plays by keeping your eyes upfield on the scramble.
2nd down and 9. They'll run Parker again. Willie Parker up to the 27-yard line. Parker played it at North Carolina, but not very much. Scouted by the Rooney family. In fact, Parker, well, you always know when a guy doesn't announce his college when we do the introductions and he goes with his high school or some other team. He's not that fond of his college. So he named his high school and not University of North Carolina.
Right, and if he was scouted by the Rooney family, why didn't they draft him?
Yeah, you know, I think but they knew that they could probably sneak it by.
Yeah, that's them. Well, you have, he has 4.3 speed, and how you can miss 4.3 speed with today's scouting systems, I have no idea.
Went through the cracks, and Steelers are the beneficiary. And the catch is made by Hines Ward. So Hines Ward up at the 36-yard line, and that will move the chains.
Yeah, I would take that guy on my team all the time. You're talking about how he does all the tough things. He'll run that in. He'll run the slant as he does here, just up the field and right back in. I mean, he knows there's a guy behind him that's going to hit him. There's a nose he's going into a guy that's going to hit him, but he still concentrates, catches that ball.
3 minutes to go in the period. From the 38-yard line. Parker cuts it back. Parker up to the 45-yard line. And Willie Parker has now carried the ball 20 times already for a total of 76 yards.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to establish is that Willie Parker can carry the ball inside too. That was the thing. When they had Jerome Bettis here, it was Jerome would run the inside runs and they'd put Willie Parker in and he'd run outside. So defenses played him that way. I think Willie Parker is showing tonight he better defending for those inside runs also.
2nd and 2. Parker, who carried the ball 26 times last year in the season finale, carry number 21 here up to the 46-yard line. He's tackled there by Donnie Spragan. 3rd down and 2. You look at Miami last year, 9-7. When they scored more than 21 points, 21 or more, they were 9-0. If they didn't score 21, 0-7. That's the magic number, blackjack.
And I think it was, towards the end of the season, they won those 6 straight games. That's when I believe everyone kind of bought into Nick Saban's football.
After a slow start at 3-7, catch is made on the outside by Washington. Nice grab, had to turn his hands around and makes the catch, and they move the chains again. So that penalty early on could be very costly, because instead of punting from deep in their own territory, they're already out to midfield right now.
And that's just that quick throw. Again, it's not a 3-step drop. You just get the ball right here and throw a quick screen. Charlie Batch gets the ball, just turns out. He has 2 blockers out in front of him on a screen, and that's enough to get the first down. I remember when 3rd and 2 would be a running down. Now it's 4 wide receivers and wide receiver screens.
It's anything. 1st and 10, 49-yard line. The Miami 49. Feeling the pressure, stepping up, stepping out. Slides for a first down, and then Thomas comes in at the end, and 60,000 people want a penalty. So does Roethlisberger, make it 60,001, but no flag for a late hit.
One of the things a quarterback can do when he runs the ball, he still has the ball in his hand, so he can still pump it and fake it, even though he's by the line of scrimmage, and it will still affect defenders.
Boy, that's one of those real borderline calls, and you wonder if the veteran, Thomas, doesn't get a slight benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah, he does, because on the slide, when they go feet first, they give up.
Here's Parker, and Parker bursts through the middle, finding room up the gut to the 25-yard line. And that's going to take us down to the end of the 3rd quarter. So back and forth we go. Miami has the lead, but it's a precarious lead with 15 minutes of regulation to be played. End of the 3rd quarter. Miami 17, Pittsburgh 14 in the 2006 NFL opener. And tonight's game continues after these messages from your local NBC station.
I am the king of the world! Wow! He got him again! An epic fight that would make heavyweight history, the second installment of Ingemar Johansson versus Floyd Patterson. Having lost the title in their first meeting, Patterson was attempting to become the first fighter ever to win back the heavyweight crown.
Left hand starts again. Johansson begins to drop his guard, and the hook goes over it.
With the fight even going into round 5, Floyd Patterson releases a punch that is considered to be one of boxing's finest. A sweet left hand lands flush on the jaw, instantly ending the Swede's short reign as the champion. Boxing history is made, and Floyd Patterson is the champion of the world once more. Don't miss more classic boxing moments on ESPN.
I used to be a chiropractor. I had to give it up because of a problem with my hands. I started playing poker pretty seriously. My wife said, why not give it a go at the World Series? Sometimes I still can't believe I'm the reigning world champion of poker. My name is Joe Hasham. Who's next?
Major League Baseball on ESPN. Saturday from Flushing, the Mets continue with the best record in the National League, and they're ready for a playoff tune-up when they host the Dodgers. Dodgers, Mets, Saturday live on ESPN.
Heinz Field in Pittsburg, Pennsylvania. Steelers driving on the Dolphins. Don't forget all the scores and highlights. Another edition of ESPN Sports Center will take you around the world. An in-depth look at all the news, scores, and highlights of the day in sports on Sports Center. Check either ESPN.com or ESPNDeportes.com for local listings in your area.
Andrea Kramer, opening night in Pittsburgh. Miami leading the Steelers 17-14, but the Steelers have had the ball for the last 6 minutes, 11 seconds. Huge penalty against Michael Lehan kept the drive going early on, and now they try to cash in. And Charlie backs to throw. And the pass is thrown a little bit behind Willie Parker. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, this is where conditioning is really going to show now that we get to the 4th quarter, because it seems like starters play so little in the preseason. You know, they'll play a little here, a little there, a quarter, and then maybe the 4th preseason not play at all, and then they have their opener and they have to play the whole game. And this is when it will start to show.
Last year, and the Dolphins can only hope it goes back to last year, they were great in the 4th quarter. A sign of conditioning. Pass to the outside is caught by Dan Kreider, the fullback. Their point differential last year for Miami was plus 54 in the 4th quarter, the best differential of any of the 32 teams. So one thing Saban does, he keeps them in shape.
Stop by Goodman. He does, and I think being in Miami, you're going to be in shape.
Yeah.
And when you work out in that heat every day, you're going to have that type of thing. But Nick Saban is a type of guy that is going to have a well-coached team, a fundamental team, and a team that's in good condition.
3rd down and 6 now. Big play. Inside handoff, trickery. They give it to Nate Washington. Can he get the first? Yes, he can with an extra burst. So their first mini trick play of the night.
Well, you know that they're going to do it. I mean, this is a thing, and Miami knows they're going to do it. You don't know when they're going to do it, and you don't know what it's going to be. Here they hand off on the run, and then they hand off the reverse, and then Nate Washington makes that move right there to get the first down. I was talking about Heinz Ward and the type of thing he does. He's the guy that made the block that sprung Nate Washington.
First down now at the 13-yard line. A minute and a half into the 4th period. Parker. And he'll take it to the 7-yard line behind that Kreider block. Again, it was 3rd down and 16 for the Steelers, deep in their own territory. And then you had that that call at hands to the face against Michael Lehan, the nickelback, free agent in Cleveland, and that gave him a first down. There was one more penalty call, and now the Steelers have marched down the field. They controlled the ball for 8 minutes and threatened to take the lead, at worst tie the game.
Right, and the running gets easier as the game gets longer.
2nd and 4. Parker has carried 23 times. Make it 2 dozen. Make it a first down. 2 to 1. 1st and goal. Parker had a spectacular day on opening day last year when nobody knew about him. And all of a sudden against Tennessee, the next thing you know, you looked up, he had 161 yards in his starting debut.
You know, and Jerome Bettis has to be proud of this, because this is always what he wanted him to do. You know, don't stay outside. If you ever have a chance to cut it back, to take it inside, take it inside. And that's exactly what Willie Parker did.
Parker out. This would be an 82-yard drive if they can score the touchdown. Haynes is the back. And the ball is loose. And the Miami Dolphins come up with it. So as Batch comes away from center, he loses the ball. And that is the end of an 81-yard drive.
And the Steelers had everything going. I mean, they had that good mixture. They had the Dolphins on the run, and then this happens.
Allen with a recovery. Will Allen.
A warm welcome to the ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass studio from Tommy and me. It's time to dip into the mailbag and see what you've been saying this week. Keep your comments and questions coming to us via espnsoccernet.com and look for the Press Pass link. And let's get cracking. Our first question comes to us from Nwachukwu in Nigeria. He says, it's unfortunate that clubs like Inter fail to recognise the talents of young players such as Martins and opt instead for older ones.
A question from the home of Emimba. Yeah, it certainly is. I felt that Inter never used Martins properly. I think that he will do very well in England. I think his career will do well in England.
And incidentally, Tommy loves Enyimba. Right, Kunal in Fiji with our second question. Can Barcelona retain their Primera title?
I don't see any reason why they can't. They'll certainly start off as big favourites, and with the team they have, you have to feel that they have a good shot at it.
We want to know what you have to say about these and other topics. espnsoccernet.com. Look for the Press Pass link.
Pittsburg, Pennsylvania, all lit up on opening night of the NFL season in 2006. And the Steelers trailing the Miami Dolphins with under 12 minutes remaining, 17-14 after a crucial fumble at the goal line by the Steelers. Back to Heinz Field.
13 and all for naught. And now Miami with the lead in the ball at their own 5-yard line. We'll go back and look at the fumble in a moment. And Culpepper slings it to the outside, and it is caught. No, Chambers did not make the catch. One official conferring with the other. Go back and we'll take a look at the play. The snap. Batch appears to come away with the ball, and Faneca comes into the play. Number 66 pulling.
It looks like it came out of his hands, and then as Faneca was pulling, looks like his knee kicked it. Watch right there. The ball's coming out, and then Faneca just kicks it.
Andrea, you down there? You sense anything that's going on down there on the bench?
Yeah, well, Al, as soon as Batch came off the field, he went over to Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger said, "What happened? Did the guard hit you?" And Batch said, "Nope, the ball just slipped out of my hands."
Oh, and then Polamalu tries to make a jump on the pass intended for Chambers, and the pass is incomplete. Otherwise, that would have been 6.
I tell you, he can make that jump too, Troy Polamalu. I mean, he's great at this. He's reading. You see him. He's looking right in here at Culpepper. And he sees, when he sees him turn, he starts to run. Then when the ball's in the air, he gives it that burst.
Culpepper must have had an accelerated heartbeat for a split second. 3rd down and 10 from the 5. Dante to the outside, and that is Chambers making the catch. Taylor is right with him, and they convert. for a first down up to the 18-yard line.
Yeah, good blitz pickup. They brought 2 from Culpepper's backside, but they were blocked. Watch, they're going to bring 2 from this side. They'll get blocked. Culpepper looks to his left, feels that, moves a little away from the blitz, and throws out there. That's pretty impressive. I mean, he saw that blitz coming, but he knew it was picked up. Then he could move just enough to his right.
First and 10 from the 18-yard line. Chambers again, who had a silent first half, making some noise here in the second half. Again, tackled by Taylor and Polamalu after a gain of 6 to the 24-yard line.
Yeah, I think that was the difference in Miami's offense. In the first half, they didn't have any running game going at all, and they didn't get the ball to Chris Chambers. So they kind of came out in the second half, and that was one of the adjustments they made. You know, we have to start getting Chris Chambers involved in our passing game, but we do have to stay with the running game and running ground.
Chambers has now caught 3 passes for 26 yards. Browns carried 12 times for 29 yards, but has gotten into the end zone for both Miami touchdowns. And Randy McMichael signals for a timeout prior to a 2nd and 4. 10:21 left in the 4th. Miami by 3 in Pittsburgh.
You want game? This fall, ESPN Game Plan has up to 150 extra college football games. Key matchups and rivalries from major conferences, all available when you order your exclusive ESPN Game Plan pay-per-view package. It's maximum college football.
Get full access to live college football games online with ESPN's Game Plan. To order Game Plan, go to ESPN.com and search Game Plan.
W.G. Grace is regarded by all as the founding father of the game of cricket. Born in 1848, his skill and ability with the bat and ball elevated him above every other player of his generation and made him the most well-known figure of his era. He's credited with creating the modern batting style of bat and pad and is seen as the starting point for general cricket technique. Already a legend in the domestic game, he was 32 years old before making his Test debut in 1880, and among his many achievements, he would go on to make the first ever Test century. A pioneer, visionary and player of great skill, W.G. Grace is the foundation on which the game of cricket has been built. Don't miss the series The Legends of Cricket on ESPN.
ESPN presents the start of a new season of the toughest league in the world, the Italian Serie A. This Sunday, Cagliari face off against the league rookie Catania. It's Cagliari against Catania this Sunday live on ESPN.
Key guys for Miami tonight. Dante Culpepper, 221 yards through the air. Brown, only 29 yards, but 2 touchdowns. And Walker had a big first half with 4 receptions.
You know, and Randy McMichael, their all-star tight end, has only caught 1 pass for 10 yards, so they didn't get Chambers involved early, and they didn't get McMichael.
Culpepper's going to throw on 2nd and 4, and the catches are going to be made by Chambers. So all of a sudden, Chambers very much a part of the plan here, and he has now caught a total of 4 passes in the game. Culpepper is 16 out of 28. Steelers, the Super Bowl champs, finished with 4 regular season wins and then rolled through their 4 postseason games. Miami ended last year with 6 consecutive wins. Pittsburgh had the lead early on. Miami was able to get the lead back. It looked like Pittsburgh was driving for a touchdown, at worst a field goal. Then came the fumble. Here comes a fumble on Miami's end, and Mrs. Chambers was able to pick it up after he had trouble with the handoff from Brown, and it was Polamalu who came in and broke up the play, and Miami fortunate to retain possession.
Yeah, we always talk about the Steelers and their gadget plays or their trick plays they like, and Miami, of course, with Mike Mularkey, you know that they're going to have their share of them also. And here you see a handoff, and then Polamalu, as you say, Al, is the guy that fouled that play up because He tackled the back before he was able to hand it off to Chambers coming around.
He'll foul up a few.
They're lucky, the Dolphins are, that they still have the ball.
At the 43-yard line. Marty Booker. Across the 50 to the 49-yard line. 9 minutes to play. Bill Cowher, now the dean in terms of tenure with one team. Of course, Joe Gibbs and Bill Parcells have been head coaches longer than Cowher, but 15 years with one team, following Chuck Knowles, 23, and a lot of speculation as to what will Bill do. Will he be back next year? Will he retire? Will he take a couple of years off and coach someplace else? So that speculation has been fairly close to rampant for a couple of months now. Culpepper. And Ronnie Brown. He wins the Super Bowl. And, you know, John, you opened up the Super Bowl last year and you said he's always going to have that yeah, but. Well, he doesn't have that yeah, but anymore. I just get the feeling, and we talked to him last night, you know, I get the feeling he doesn't know what he's going to do next year, whether he'll be back, whether he'll coach 8 more years or 8 more months.
No, and you know, and you probably don't know, because if you do know that you're going to get out, then you should get out then. But he said that the thing that he's having the biggest trouble with is getting back to normal and the constant congratulations. He doesn't know how to answer that.
On 2nd and 5. Yeah, he was saying last night, look, everybody's coming up to congratulate us. And, you know, as any head coach would, he wants to look ahead and not back. But I know one thing, John, he loses like the first 2 games, they'll stop congratulating him.
Right. I mean, there is a way to get out of that, but you don't want to go that route.
Since '92, when he took over, the Steelers with the best record in the National Football League, a .632 winning percentage. 3rd and 2.
And the Steelers have to take time out. They didn't have their right defense.
And a big play coming up. A big play. 7:11 to go in regulation. Miami by 3.
The thrills just keep on coming with the IndyCar Series on ESPN. The season is down to the final race, and it's a 4-man battle for the points championship. Castro Nieves, Hornish, Weldon and Dixon race for the ultimate checkered flag. The 2006 IndyCar Series Championship. The thrills just keep on coming. The Chicago Indy 300, Monday on ESPN.
The League of the Stars continues with more live football action on ESPN. On Sunday from the Camp Nou Stadium, Ronaldinho, Messi, and Barcelona's powerful attack clash against the always dangerous Osasuna. Later, the game of the round live from Madrid. Javier Aguia's Atletico face off against a well-motivated Valencia. It's Barcelona-Osasuna, followed by Atletico Madrid-Valencia. It's Spanish football live this Sunday on ESPN.
No blinking, flinching, or twitching.
There's no room in there. There's no space.
Not when victory is measured by millimeters.
We call it the madhouse. Great comeback.
The competition is dead brilliant. And if they're on target, the Yanks may beat the Europeans at their own game. $1 million US at stake. The World Series of Darts. Tonight, only on ESPN.
Hello there, we're getting ready for the weekend edition of ESPN's SoccerNet Press Pass. Janusz Michalek and Tommy Smith will join me here in the studio as we look back at an exciting midweek of European Championship qualifying action.
The talented Manning brothers face each other for the first time at Giants Stadium Sunday night, September 10th, live on ESPN. The first time in NFL history, brothers will face off against each other as opposing quarterbacks. Check either ESPN.com or ESPNDeportes.com for local listings in your area.
And that flip goes back to Brown, and Brown cannot get out of the backfield. Ike Taylor up from the corner to knock him down.
You know, it was interesting. They tried to run that same short yardage play that the Steelers ran to Willie Parker. It's kind of, it's a college option thing where you just fake and then just throw it and let the back outrun. See, they fake to the left and come out and just pitch it out there. That was an ugly play from the start, though, wasn't it? I mean, even the pitch didn't look crisp, and that Steeler defense is too fast to get that play on.
Yep, might be well designed, but poorly executed, forcing Donnie Jones into punt. Santonio Holmes back to receive. And it's fair caught by Holmes at the 12-yard line. So Pittsburgh will try to mount another drive. 6:25 remaining in regulation on opening night. The Dolphins lead the Steelers by a field goal.
The Champions Tour presents the 2006 3M Championship. For the 6th consecutive year, the TPC Twin Cities hosted the event. Entering the final round, rookie David Edwards trailed the leader by 3 strokes, and after bogeys on the opening 2 holes, he fell 5 shots behind. But Edwards found his game and made 6 birdies in the final 11 holes to win his first title since his win on the PGA Tour in 1993, a victory drought spanning 13 years. Edwards won in only his 11th start on the Champions Tour and moved into the top 10 in the season-long Charles Schwab Cup race. His career largest paycheck also moved him into the top 10 on this year's Champions Tour money list. Congratulations, David Edwards, winner of the 2006 3M Championship.
ESPN brings you the best soccer action in the world. The UEFA Champions League, the most prestigious club event in European football. The FA Cup brings together only the best in England. Italian Serie A, 38 exclusive matches. International friendly soccer, featuring England, Germany and Ireland. European qualifiers, more than 30 games as they prepare for Euro 2008. And ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass wraps it all with shows on Monday and Friday night. The world's best soccer action, only on ESPN.
Tonight on ESPN, Friday Night Fights presents a bout between Alan Green and Emmett Linton. Later, the NFL season kicks off with the Dolphins taking on the Steelers. It's Friday Night Fights and the Dolphins-Steelers only on ESPN tonight.
Having an opportunity to be from this area, you play in front of family and friends at home for this organization, it's just going to be amazing for me. This is a childhood dream.
Charlie Batch getting the start again. Roethlisberger after the appendectomy yielding to Batch, and now Charlie will have to lead another long drive to get him back into at least field goal range, and he starts beautifully with a perfectly thrown ball to Heath Miller, the tight end, who's inside the 30, the 20, inside the 10, and Heath Miller is in for the touchdown. About that.
Charlie Batch just talking about how exciting it is to play in front of his hometown people, his mother's here, family, everyone. Here you see Heath Miller right there. He's a tight end. He starts to the inside. He runs a corner. All the defense has been run off. There was no one back there, and Charlie Batch hits him perfectly.
Well, I'll tell you what. Upstairs, if one of the coaches see that, that should be challenged.
Yeah, he's out
by
of bounds.
Saban. He was out of bounds. But if they get the kickoff before the challenge, forget about it. But that should be challenged. And I'm very surprised. And here's the kick. He challenged. Did he get the flag down before the kick? They make the kick, but Saban throws the flag down. One official is signaling the extra point is good. Saban says, what do I have to do to get the challenge here? So they see it upstairs. The guys are watching the replays. This is before the extra point. Saban looking to see if somebody's watching. He throws it out there. It was thrown before the kick.
Now, that would be something that they could look at a replay to see if he did throw it out there before the kick, right?
Well, they'd have you got to get like a time code in there, or find a clock, or get something that would show exactly when he challenged. But clearly, We feel he wins the challenge because it looks like Miller is out of bounds. But once you kick the extra point, once it's snapped, forget about it. So Saban throws the flag, but it's too late, and Pittsburgh has the lead.
ESPN presents the start of a new season of the toughest league in the world, the Italian Serie A. This Sunday, Cagliari face off against the league rookie Catania. It's Cagliari against Catania this Sunday live on ESPN.
All right, now we'll get to the replays, but just to clean up one part of this thing. Saban throws the flag. We think he threw it before the ball was snapped. However, the officials did not see it. You cannot challenge when the flag was thrown. In other words, you can't go back and look at time code or a split screen and make your challenge predicated upon that aspect of it. Here's Welker running back the kick to the 29. But we thought Saban had enough time, clearly well before the kick, to throw the flag, but he waited. And the fact that none of the officials saw it, that was the end of it. Once the ball was snapped. Now take a look at Miller. If you go back, you can see Miller is clearly out of bounds. They would have spotted the ball, you know, the 1.5 yard line, somewhere there. It would not have been a touchdown. Too late.
No blinking, flinching, or twitching.
There's no room in there. There's no space.
Not when victory is measured by millimeters.
We call it the madhouse. Great comeback.
The competition is dead brilliant. And if they're on target, the Yanks may beat the Europeans at their own game. $1 million US at stake. The World Series of Darts. Tonight, only on ESPN.
Heath Miller's long touchdown pass, catch, and run ended up just inside the 2-yard line. If you watch the replay, his knee hits right there at about the 2-yard line. His foot goes out of bounds. Then he hit the pylon. Apparently, Nick Saban, the Dolphin coach, could not get the challenge flag out soon enough to challenge it, so it stands as a touchdown. Miami trailing 21-17 under 6 minutes remaining now as we take it back to Pittsburgh.
Watch the flag in relation to the official. The play has not started yet. But what's happening here, and they used to have a buzzer, but the buzzer is gone because the buzzer just malfunctioned too much. So they took that away and they made it that big red flag. But if the official's not looking, there's nothing you can do about it. And you can't challenge, as I say, the timing of the flag.
Right, and it was still a great play by Pittsburgh, and Nick Saban did challenge late.
And that's picked off by Polamalu, who's inbounds before he steps out of bounds, and so they take the lead and get the turnover.
Troy Polamalu, one of the great players in the NFL because of this. You need a play on defense. He's going to make the play. Here he is. You just see him. He's just playing center field here. He's just reading. He sees Culpepper turn to his right. He just starts off to that side, and then he has a great burst and instinct and reaction to the ball. Just watching the things that this guy does in practice and in games, he's a great athlete, and the things that he can do with his body are amazing.
Now at the 45-yard line, they give it to Parker, and they'll start to chew up some of the clock. And for Parker, that's 25 carries. He's into triple digits in terms of yardage, 109 yards.
Now, that was that old thing that Polamalu did there when you play in center field. You read the quarterback, and you start straight back there. When he turns, you start your turn. And then when the ball's in the air, you make your burst. And Polamalu did all three of those things. Willie Parker's earning his check tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, as he did on opening day last year when he burst onto the scene. Nobody knew who he was. And he had a phenomenal day against Tennessee. And capped it, of course, with the Super Bowl record run in February. Zach Thomas makes the tackle here. He had 26 carries last year in the closing game of the regular season, and he picks up right where he left off.
You know, and Charlie Batch is doing the job that a backup quarterback has to do. You know, you don't know when you're going to play, but you know, when you're called, it could be in the game, it could be the third quarter, the fourth quarter, it could be Ben Roethlisberger goes down on Sunday and you're going to start on Thursday night. You have a few days to get ready, but Charlie Batch, I think, is really playing that role well tonight.
3rd and 3 from the shotgun. Gets it off. That'll be a first down. That'll move the chains and, more importantly, keep the clock rolling. Hines Ward makes the catch. Tackled there by Travaris Tillman. Ticking down to 4 minutes to go.
You know, the deal about Hines Ward, he didn't play a preseason game. He didn't practice a lot. Maybe practiced 3 or 4 days, and you didn't know how much he was going to play. Didn't you feel, just knowing Hines Ward, that he would play the whole game?
You had, you know, and looking at him at practice the other night, well, you know, that hamstring thing, it's like, you know, Owens had it, Steve Smith had it. Owens is supposed to play. Smith is questionable, I guess, for Carolina, but you always knew that, I mean, you always felt that Hines Ward would play, and as you say, John, play the whole game. Parker to the outside.
And look at him out there blocking. Who's the guy that's leading for Willie Parker? I mean, you talk about Hines Ward and all the passes he catches and all the other things that he does, but then he gets out there and blocks. Now, there's a lot of receivers that would just go and just run off and do something else, but when he feels Willie Parker out there, he stays with his guy, and he gets just enough to let Willie Parker